Hey guys, it's Jake from Wani, and I am here with Scott Kay from Voyager. Scott, man, how you going?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Yeah, good. Switch on to the big topic at hand, which is obviously Voyager's new album, Ghost Mile, which I've had a chance to listen to it, and it's absolutely killer, and I do think it's sort of the culmination of all of the band's back catalogue of work up to this point. But how excited are you guys to finally be releasing this work upon the world?
Oh man, we've been we've been waiting for a long time to get this stuff out there. We're very, very excited. We feel like it's. I mean, you're always going to say that your latest is your best release, but you know we're really excited about this one in particular. I think we've. This is the first time in the band's history where we've had the exact same lineup of members going from the previous record. So this time around, we're able to actually kind of really delve into what it is that we all enjoy as individuals and kind of. I guess hone in and refine the writing process as this lineup. So we feel like it's a very cohesive record, and it treads a lot of new ground for us as well, which we're really stoked about. So yeah, we're over the moon, man. We're very excited.
Yeah, and you touched on a really good point then, because you do actually get the vibe, as you said, that it treads on a lot of new ground, and I think a big part of this album, and I guess indeed the Voyager machine over the years, has been the interplay between the music and Danny's vocals, and you don't ever really go for those big sort of hooks or those ultimate moments that you try and capture for the listener, but you sort of bring it down to a level where you fuse together memorable riffs and layer those with the vocals, and that's sort of clear again on this album. So how does writing like that occur, and would you think that fans can expect more of that on this album?
The way we go about writing, really, man, is so it's like a subconscious thing for us. We'll just come up with an idea and decide whether we like it or not. Really, not really necessarily based on the style that it is. So I mean, you know, if you look at where we've come as a band, like every record to me has a very different vibe, and I think it just comes from just deciding on the content that we're creating at the time, whether we like it or not. It's really not about sort of meeting a quota for certain styles or certain tropes or whatever. We just write an idea that we enjoy, really. So it's always been a very natural progression. It's just really nice for us to have the same 5 people in the room a second time, so that we can kind of refine that more. So I guess fans should expect us to just kind of not that we're dismissing the fans' opinions. Obviously, we care about our fans a lot, but they should expect us to just write what we feel comfortable writing. And I guess, you know, we do understand that we need to make this stuff relatable for everybody. And I think it's just that will just come through naturally anyway, because that's the kind of stuff we like writing. But generally speaking, it's just sort of like a free-for-all. We just kind of go in, try some ideas, and stuff comes out the other end, and that's about it, really. There's no conscious decision-making a lot of the time.
Yeah, cool. And you actually brought up a good point there with relatability and linking into the fans. It's sort of a good tie-in to my next question, which was to do with the crowdfunding route that you guys have decided to take again for this album.
Yep.
What's the reception been like towards not only this album but the last album, and do you see crowdfunding as a model that could work for a lot of bands in the future, or is it just something that works for specific bands that have those specific fan bases?
Good question. I mean, it's hard to know whether it would be successful for everybody as a general idea. I think for us it does work well because we have a very dedicated fan base that have been, you know, that have stuck by us regardless of the kind of content we've created. I mean, if you look back on like our first record, it sounds practically nothing like what we're doing now, but it's the fans from that record are still listening to us, enjoying what we're doing. So, you know, the fact that we have fans like that means that our crowdfunding campaigns will be more successful because we've got people who care about what we're producing. There is sort of, I would say that I wouldn't want it to be a fad. I would want this to be a continuous thing, because I feel like it just eliminates the middleman. It eliminates the need for a label. It eliminates the need for other people to take cuts of what we're doing. I mean, the only company that's taking a cut from the crowdfunding is Pledge Music, which makes sense because they provide the platform, so they take a certain percentage. But apart from that, the rest of the money is coming straight to us, and it's going straight into creating the product that everybody's actually already paid for. So I mean, the thing about it is it's more of a pre-order type thing that's just been labeled differently and has taken a different approach. So like, rather than it just being pre-order the album, you can, pre-order a signed copy, or you can buy banners or sign skinheads or drumsticks or whatever, that we're offering, like Skype chats, listening party, all that kind of stuff. All of these other exclusives that are just, I don't know, they just add a more personal touch to it. And I think it's a good approach to take for a band because it breaks things up. It makes things different. Because Lord knows the music market is pretty saturated, so you have to kind of make your voice heard somehow, and I think that's a good approach to take.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good point there. And coming back to the way that you guys write your music and being it very personal and resonating well with the fans, I think that's sort of the best course of action for you guys at the moment. And the last couple of times, it's obviously worked out really well for you. So.
Yeah, it's been a huge success, and I think it's nice, man. It feels good to have fans be interested in that too, because it's nice because it feels like we're being treated as humans. We're not sort of like this machine that pumps out music, and therefore fans have this sort of have these unrealistic expectations or whatever. They just know that we're people that like creating music. So it humanizes everybody in the process, which I think is really awesome. And it just, in my opinion, needs to be more of that in the music industry in general. So yeah,
cool. So the upcoming tour for Go Smile starts obviously next month.
Yep.
And you guys are bringing out the algorithm for that. They're from France. How excited are you for these upcoming shows?
We're stoked, man. It's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to having the algorithm with us as well, because they've come over to Australia a couple of times now, and they're just wild, man. There's like no group that I've ever seen do what they do. They're very unique. And we're going to be having we have a touring lighting guy with us this time around as well. So the light show is going to look awesome. We're just really stoked for it, man. I'm really excited to hear these new Ghost Mile tracks translated to the live setting as well, because I think they'll work quite well in that setting. So yeah, we're just stoked to be playing more shows, man.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, I think the last time that you guys were over the East Coast was the Deftones tour, wasn't it?
Yes, that was the last one we did. That was in November, which I can't believe it was like nearly 4 months ago. It's crazy. Yeah, so it's over 4 months ago.
I did want to just touch on that a bit briefly. I mean, my first experience with Voyager as a band, I think it was 2011 with the Children of Bodom. Was it the Ugly tour that happened back then?
I'm trying to remember what Children of Bodom were doing at that point in time, but I remember the tour. Yeah, that tour was absolutely insane for us. It was so good.
Yeah, and I remembered doing the quick bit of pre-gig scan and having a look and sitting there, and I enjoyed your stuff. I thought, I mean, obviously I was a big Children of Bodom fan. Thought, it's just another band that's going to be a filler. But I remember coming away from that show being absolutely blown away by Voyager as a band, and I had the same experience last November with Deftones, and I was standing around a bunch of people, and they all sort of looked at me and said, "Wow, do you know these guys, and have you heard of them before?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're really good." And after the set, they all sort of turned to me and they said, "Yeah, you were right, they were really good." So I guess, what is it about your performances on stage that you think that wins fans over so easily?
I think it's just the fact that we have a fun time, man. Like, we really don't... I don't believe in the idea that we... At least our bands, this isn't to say for everybody, but I think for our band, that the idea that works is that we just go out and just have fun. And, I mean, when you're watching people have fun, it's infectious, and so it's nice to hear that kind of translates, because we really do take, weirdly enough, we take not taking ourselves seriously quite seriously in the sense that we don't want people thinking that it's just another gig. You know, we love doing this, and we want that to translate. We want to show people how much fun we have, you know, and it's an honest thing for us. So I think it's just that we have fun and that we show that we have fun. Again, it's not for every band. Some bands put on that serious persona as part of their show, and that's really cool as well. But I think for us, what seems to work is that just very down to earth, like the breaking of the barrier between the band and the crowd. So we try and be as engaging as possible in that way. I think that's what seems to win people over is the entertainment factor, and the fact that I do think that we perform our music, you know, to a high standard. That's just a given, though.
Yeah, so, that definitely does come across. But I mean, it also probably helps that you sneak a little bit of Sandstorm in the middle of the set as well.
Yeah, that seems to be going down a treat. Yeah. Everyone likes that 90s dance throwback every now and then.
Yeah. So, continuing on with that, it sort of seems like every time you guys are over on the East Coast, you're either in tow or have an international band in tow with you. Is that a conscious decision from your part?
Yeah, it seems to be the way the industry is heading in terms of touring packages. It seems like I guess Australia should be exporting as much as we're importing, and like I think, especially in heavy music, there's a lot of talk about Australian heavy music right now, because you've got obviously Carnival have been killing it for ages. You've got Dead Letter Circus, you've got 12 Foot Ninja, all of these heavy bands that are doing something that's very unique, and so I think Australia is being seen now as a good location for not only for exporting but for bringing bands over. And so yeah, it's a conscious decision to try and, I guess, broaden the horizons for heavy music and try and bridge the gap, you know, try and get more bands over here that might not feel comfortable in traveling so far for a headlining tour. So, you know, we're looking for bands that are doing really good things overseas but need break the Australian market. So, you know, I see it as a win for everybody, because you've got mid-tier progressive bands from, you know, US or Europe or wherever that get an opportunity to come to Australia for their first time. And it's also good for the Australian scene, because all the fans get to see these bands that probably wouldn't get an opportunity to see otherwise. So it seems like this is the direction that at least the heavy music scene is kind of going, and I think it's awesome. So yeah, that is very much a conscious decision. Yeah, cool. Definitely.
Cool. I've got one more for you, Scott. So closing out, you guys later on this year are heading back overseas for Euroblast Festival. I think that's towards the end of the year. Very late indeed. But is there more dates on the horizon that some of the European fans might be able to go and check out?
We're pretty much in the process of organising that right now, so nothing's set in stone at this point. The other gig that we have that's locked in is we're headlining the Friday night, I believe, at Prog Power Europe, which is going to be awesome as well. So we're doing that alongside Tesseract, because Tesseract are headlining the Saturday night, I believe. Mm. So we'll be doing that one as well. But basically, yeah, the idea is we want to try and find any kind of bands who are running tours around that time and try and get on some dates there, because obviously it's a long way to go for two shows, so we definitely want to try and get something locked in. So I think we're in the process of organising that now. So basically just keep your ears close to the ground.
Yeah, cool. Scott, thanks so much for your time today.